Hello there, Romans here, and welcome to my next music review. Today it's going to be Sevendust, All I See Is War.
Music review. Music review.
Sevendust is an American alternative metal / new metal group that I discovered something like 7 years ago, and it was with the song Praise, and I was blown away by that song. I really love it up until this day. I think it's a great song, one of the best in the genre, and I've heard a couple of records like Animosity and a few more, something like 3 or 4 records. I've never really went through their whole discography, but when I discovered that they were about to release a new record, I was kind of curious, and because I really enjoyed those previous records, I decided to check them out. The new record, All I See Is War, is coming out today. As of now, I've heard it 6 times, so let's look at the record. Lately, I've been reviewing quite a lot of records that fall under the category of mainstream rock, some of which were pretty decent, like for example Shinedown or Godsmack, some which were more average like Breaking Benjamin, and some plain bad like Pop Evil. And I wouldn't necessarily say that Sevendust fall under the same category of mainstream rock, but it really seems like they cover a lot of ground on this record. So first of all, the mainstream rock, or the reason why I would think that in some way they resemble this genre, is that most of the songs on the record are relatively short, and I've been talking about this in previous reviews, that I don't really like mainstream rock in that it's pretty much just a pop music that's louder and it's very cliche. It's pretty much going a very predictable way most of the time, and most of the music sounds the same. But Sevendust cover much more ground on this new record, because first of all, I think that one big disadvantage of mainstream rock is that if you took random songs from these artists and put them together, you wouldn't be able to differentiate between individual groups unless you really know that certain group very well. But Sevendust is a group that I think you'd be pretty able to tell apart, mainly because of the singer. I really love the singer's voice, so this is one of the main reasons why they sound so different. Now, I'm kind of sorry for the fact that there aren't more black people doing rock and metal music, because I think his voice just sounds amazing. There is something almost primitive about his voice, and it sounds like a voice I would follow into the battle. He's got very heavy, very deep and very dark voice, and I like how he's accompanied by the drummer, who does a lot of screaming, and therefore it seems like one of the grounds, apart from mainstream rock, that they cover on the new album is also like metalcore and also alternative metal, the genre that they become famous for. So I think that this is a much more versatile and much more colorful record, and I really like how easily they are recognizable. One artist who I kind of felt that this record was similar to is Mark Tremontiel, especially his solo stuff, that is a combination of very heavy, almost speed metal or thrash metal and modern metal riffs with a lot of melodic singing and harmonies, because he's not necessarily a singer who would produce some screaming or growling, but yet without that his music is pretty heavy, and I think that the same can be said about this record. There is a lot of heaviness, a lot of heavy riffs. You've got some songs that are pretty brutal in terms of heaviness, like for example Reason or The Truth. I also think that the production and the sound on the record is great, and I really like how the record kicks off with the song Dirty, that has a great guitar solo. Now, one of the features of mainstream rock is that these artists usually don't have any guitar solos, even though a guitar solo is one of the most important features of rock music. Mainstream rock, for the sake of being commercial, doesn't have any guitar solos. Now, the song Dirty has a great guitar solo, and I just wish there were more of them on the record, because you've got a couple of more songs that have guitar solos, like for example Sickness or Moments, and you've got some sort of a solo in Cheers or Reason. If a song doesn't have a solo, usually you have some heavy riff that works as a bridge, you have some part that is sang, so it's kind of a versatile. And I also like that not every song on the record starts with a heavy riff, therefore it feels like the songs are slightly more colorful, with one of the singles called Not Original being almost a pop rock tune. But it really is a great tune, and it fits the record very well. I also like that they, for example, use piano in certain songs, like Moments, for example, or the single I've already mentioned. And the piano really fits with the whole sound of the record because it has a very cold sound. One of my favorite songs on the record is a song Unforgiven, which really reminds me of the song Praise. And even though as a songwriter I could imagine stronger chorus in this song, the verses are just perfect. I like how heavy the singer sounds and sings, and then you've got those melodies, and this is what I really love about the record, and I've been pretty much talking about it before, that sort of a resemblance of Tremonti, that you've got those heavy parts but a lot of harmonies and melodies to kind of keep you going. So I think that with certain features of mainstream rock, Sevendust were probably aiming for a modern sound, modern production, and maybe they wanted to kind of seem like they followed the trends. But even though they do so on many tracks, I don't feel that they necessarily fall under that category, and this is what I really like about the record. I think it was a very enjoyable album, and I'm kind of very happy about going back to the records I haven't listened before. So for me, this is a very strong 8 points out of 10. Definitely a great record. If you have never heard about Sevendust, definitely check them out. And the singer is just, he's just so great. All I see is war in Slovak means všetko, čo vidím, je vojna. If you already are a fan of Sevendust, you can tell me which records you think are the best from them. If you have heard a new record, you can tell me how well do you think it compares with their previous works. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to check out my first single, because my own record came out something like 3 weeks ago, called Pursuits in Life, and it's an album that's pretty unique for being rock music or prog rock music without guitars, and instead you have drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards, so it's pretty much a very unique listening experience. So check that out. I have a single on my YouTube channel and probably it will appear somewhere here. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you with the next music review.